Now, here's the thing. You want to talk about the perfect move? Russell Wilson going to the Steelers,
Ooh.
right? Patrick McQueen
Master Yoda
going to the
strikes
Steelers,
again.
right? So here's the situation, right? Everyone talks about Mike Tomlin. He can't figure out the offense. He loves defense so much, but he has not had a losing season. And now you're going to give him a professional quarterback.
Sure.
Regardless of what you think about Russell Wilson, last year he threw for about 28 touchdowns with only 8 interceptions.
Numbers were
The
solid.
Steelers have not had 28 touchdowns the last 2 seasons combined from their quarterback.
Yep.
And now if Russ can just do what he did here, perfect setup. Now, they got rid of Deontay Johnson, brought in a cornerback. I would like to see them bring in another receiver, but one thing I don't worry about the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, they know how to draft receivers, right? They have a strong running game.
They're
They've
good at drafting in
allocated
general.
resources towards that offensive line. And in Pittsburgh, they stayed to their identity, right? And they got better at what they were good at. To me, what I've noticed about this free agency is that teams doubled down on what they were good at, especially the better teams. So that is the Steelers bringing in Patrick McQueen and other defensive talent. That is the Baltimore Ravens bringing in Derrick Henry when they already have a good run game. But now you have Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson to worry about in the run game.
Yes.
We talked about Philadelphia Eagles adding Saquon.
Such a contrast of running styles, too.
100%. And remember, they got that kid Mitchell that showed a lot of promise, and he got hurt for that playoff
you stole
game.
him from me in fantasy.
Listen, don't sound so upset, man. You're sick. Don't get yourself worked up. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm noticing from this particular free agency moves. The better team doubled down on what they were good at and added an element.
Or got back to their championship identity, like the Giants building at the line of scrimmage pass rush. But go on. Oh, that hurt your soul right there, right? Because you're still on 1 point.
Listen. I'm not going to do it. We spend time talking about the Giants.
It's all good.
Let's just try to not be one of the top 5 worst teams in the league next year.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start there, right?
I agree.
Maybe we should not make it. Maybe we should go get Rome Odunze, right? Maybe we could pick up a wide receiver. Maybe we can just get.
I think you're going to get one,
right? Listen. Let's anyway. But look at the Green Bay Packers. Right? Look at what the Green Bay Packers have done, right? That's all that I'm saying, right? Look at their weapons on offense, right? They brought in Josh Jacobs, right? They already had Aaron Jones. But when
who's gone now?
But again, cold-blooded, but they flipped Aaron Jones for Josh Jacobs, 3 years
younger
younger,
running back,
right? Very, very highly productive, and they're not paying anyone, and they brought in good defensive talent.
They got the young quarterback, too. That formula that I was talking about earlier. Young quarterbacks start paying those other pieces, put the weapons and prerequisite things around them. And you can do that when you have a quarterback on a controllable contract.
Again, you have to have weapons to have a quarterback play productive, right?
Totally
like I
agree.
said, we need someone to throw the ball, we need someone to run the ball, and we need someone to catch the ball. And right now, we have none of those things. None of those things.
Yeah.
Right? So, again, love the defensive moves, love burn, but we have no one to throw, run, or catch.
Yeah, we still got a draft, though. I want to go back to the Russ conversation for a second, though. So Russell Wilson, I think this is really interesting to the Steelers. The Steelers were actually picked, this is by the Vegas odds, to just miss the playoffs next year. Add Russell Wilson. The line actually didn't move so much, which I do find kind of intriguing. Here's what I'll tell you about Russ. This is a huge year for him because his career could potentially be on the line. And here's what I'll say about it. I think this could either be the perfect situation for him or it could be the end of his career. And I'll tell you why I think it could be the perfect situation for him. It's no secret that while the Pittsburgh Steelers are a well-run organization, they don't exactly have a perfect beat on how to run an offense. Well, maybe that might just be the perfect thing for Russ. Because what's Russ really known for and good at? He's good for kind of ad-libbing, scrambling when times are rough, and then just looking downfield and making a play. Lord knows he's still got an arm. And Lord knows that George Pickens can go down and catch a deep ball over anybody. All right? I really like that. So maybe the Steelers adding Queen, too, to the defense, I think is a huge move. You pair him up with a guy like Watt, all of a sudden that defense looks very formidable. You talked about them allocating resources to the offensive line. They have 2 solid backs, not 1, 2, okay? Because that's kind of the league now. Multiple backs, all right? This is going to be really, not that I'm hinting at anything there, this is the NFL nowadays, all right? You got to move with the program. With Russ, I'm really interested to see how it works out. Now, on the other token, Russ has got to be on his best behavior. None of this, you don't walk into Pittsburgh and go, oh, well, if you want to talk to me, you got to contact this person. That no, Russ, I'm sorry. I'm going to be a little bit vulgar here. That shit is over, dude. You right now are playing for your NFL life. If you don't make it work this year and ingratiate your teammates, which I saw was a problem in Seattle and I saw was also a problem in Denver, I'm not sitting here trying to pile on Russ for everything. I think it's a combination of things that allude to this. But part of it is not acting accessible to your teammates. Why do people love guys like Brady, Manning, Mahomes, all those guys? Because they were one of the guys at the end of the day. They didn't act any different. They would sit there. Tom Brady, notorious for this, and I hate doing this too because I'm giving him more credit. Tom Brady used to go up to like the 7th round pick. The last guy that was drafted, hey, how you doing, man? My name's Tom Brady. That's what he would do. You think Russell Wilson would do something like that? He better this year, because I really do think that if he fails this year, I don't think another team is going to pick him up.
So Mike Tomlin won't let him fail. Everything that you mentioned, coaching can fix. Sure. And Mike Tomlin has high character.
He's a true
leader of men. And Mike Tomlin has a pulse on his team, and he'll be able to lead Russ correctly. To the Snead points that you were making, the Pittsburgh Steelers have an identity.
They do?
The New York Giants have none.
They're getting back to
none.
it, brother.
You talked about one running back, 2 running backs. We have no running backs.
No, we got one.
Okay.
Devin Singletary.
We don't have an identity of running the ball. We don't have an identity of throwing the ball, and we don't have an identity of catching the ball.
Can't be much worse than they were last year.
Now, let me say this, right?
What they end up with, 5 wins, 6 wins?
Let's focus on the Steelers, right?
We're on it.
And then focus on the Steelers. You're going to hear it first. And listen to me carefully, right?
Listening.
The Steelers are going to the AFC Championship.
Whoa!
You hear it right now.
At school are gonna be
they need to
happy.
make one more move because they got rid of Deontay Johnson. They need to bring in a top flight, young receiver, and this draft is loaded with them.
A second guy,
right?
to take some pressure
pair
off Pickens.
with
Pickens is a dude.
Pickens,
Pickens
right?
is a dude.
Maybe even bring in a veteran, right? So that there's some strong leadership there. But you've heard it here first. That defense, Mike Tomlin, with a professional quarterback, is going to the AFC Championship with one more move at receiver, one more move on that offensive
You're
line.
banking a lot, though, on Russ really coming back.
I am
through
banking
with that
on
one.
Mike Tomlin having a professional quarterback. Now, everyone throws shade at Mike Tomlin. Now, remember this. The guy that beat him the most was Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Both of them aren't here. The Ravens have taken a step back. They've lost their entire coaching staff except their head coach, right? They've lost McQueen.
I don't know if I agree with that.
They've lost a lot of defensive talent.
The
right?
Ravens are culture builders.
They've
always
lost a
replace
lot
guys.
of defensive talent. They lost their veteran wide receiver.
They lost Wink and they got better on defense.
McDonald was the real deal.
Do you think it was, or do you think it was their personnel and culture?
No.
And Harbaugh's a big defensive guy, too.
I am telling you, it's always a dogfight between the Ravens and the Steelers.
No doubt. Division rivals always tough.
Again, the Ravens need to watch out. Now, here's the thing. I'm a Baltimore Ravens lover, right? But I am telling you, this Pittsburgh Steelers are coming. And here's one other note. Whenever you make a deep playoff run, right, you get a little beat up, you get a little bit tired, and there's always like reversing to the mean. So I anticipate the Ravens taking a step back.
Yeah, I call it reverting, but same difference. Sure.
Yeah. I anticipate
or
the
regression
Steelers
to the mean.
taking a step forward. I see the Browns stepping back, and I see the Bengals being competitive, but I also think they're going to take a step back because they've taken a step back on defense, right? They're losing T. Higgins. They're losing their identity.
They're not losing T. Higgins yet. They don't have to trade him.
Listen, again, you don't want to keep that type of nonsense on your team when you haven't taken care of one of your own, like the Giants did with Saquon.
Yep.
So now when they leave, right, you'll see what happens. Brother. So just remember, when you heard it here first, the Cincinnati Bengals will take a step back. They'll be competitive, but all of a sudden, right, that check comes due. So you're paying Burrow, and you're going to have to pay Chase. Now all of a sudden, you lost Tyler Boyd. Right, they're going to take a step back while the Pittsburgh Steelers take a step forward because, again, they're going to have to figure out those things. So you've heard it here first. The Bills took a step back, right? Miami took a step back, right? The Chargers are going to take a step forward. Now they have to do some more things first, but I believe in Harbaugh. They'll take a step forward. So just you pay attention. The Steelers right now are headed to the AFC Championship game with 2 more moves.